We have a saying in our community that parenting a profoundly gifted child isn't for the faint of heart. Their intensities can be, well, intense. So, what are the educational options for parents with children who have intense behaviors? Here's Laurel talking to a family at a virtual event who have been rejected from private schools due to their son's behavior and also can't homeschool. Stay tuned after the video for more information on the benefits of the Young Scholars Program and how you can directly access features like these virtual events.
There's a lot of focus, again, it tends to be in schools on this deficit model of like focusing really on like these behaviors that are causing challenge, and rather looking holistically, really intensely focusing on these behaviors. And I don't know everything that's going on in the school, but it tends to be that there might be a lot of like focus on like rewards and punishments, or like really calling out this behavior again and again and again, rather than like finding supports for this. And I'm sorry if you hear my little dog in the background here. He's suffering from seasonal allergies. So lots of snorting. So, and you said yes, yeah. Rewards and punishments and kind of constantly calling out bad behavior without support is the default in many schools and doesn't seem to help a lot. So what works in these situations? If the school is open to it, finding kind of approaching the behavior differently might be helpful, focusing more on positive reinforcement and rapport building with the teachers, and kind of looking at this as like behavior is communication and emotions are information. So what is your student trying to communicate? What are they feeling? Can we support the emotional growth of this child? Can we support, can we figure out what they're saying and try to meet that need that they're communicating? And some students, as one parent talks about here, look at other professionals to also help in this situation, whether that's working with a counselor or an occupational therapist, or seeking out medication. That has been roads that other families have gone down as well. And I hear that homeschooling is not really an option. Something else that has helped other families that isn't homeschooling, but is taking a break from school to kind of, and okay, so you said he's on medication and therapy and they have helped, but not enough. Some families take a break from school where you're not homeschooling per se. It's not a focus on academic learning. It's a focus on kind of removing the stressors and getting back to a equilibrium so we can build up from there, because it can be really hard to adjust behavior when you're not getting any relief from the stress. But talking to the school on if they can approach things differently than they have been. And for that, you might look at, I will type some things here. Ross Green's work on the collaborative problem solving model. It doesn't sound exactly like a teaching technique, but it's very applicable. The low demand parenting model and declarative language. I'm sending you a few notes on those terms. You might look into those schools of thought and communication, and that may be helpful. You might also look into Mark Brackett's Permission to Feel, and the Yes Brain, a book about the Yes Brain is about pretty specifically frustration tolerance. Mark Brackett's Permission to Feel is about understanding and building awareness of emotions and triggers within children. And it's written for both parents and educators. So those might be some schools of thought to investigate options for how to respond to this behavior differently. So again, if you have follow-up questions, please ask them, and thank you to the parents that are adding in their experience. It should also be noted that I don't know where your son is in their year of being 8, but around the 8-9 year mark, we see a developmental shift in neurotypical children where they're able, where their development starts their brain development starts shifting, and their prefrontal cortex starts developing, and their brains go through a huge pruning and organization process, neurotypical students around this age. And it appears from the limited research that we have on profoundly gifted children that their brains stay in a sponge phase where lots of information is coming in, and they're able to learn tons and tons of information, but their brain isn't going through that organization and pruning phase. Their prefrontal cortex is not coming online as it is in neurotypical students. And this can make it appear that the student is immature because they are not hitting the developmental benchmarks that other neurotypical students are. And you can see a bigger divide in kind of behavior around this age when compared to neurotypical peers. This isn't the student necessarily being like willful or malicious. It's just that the benchmarks aren't actually hooking up to their development. And I talk a lot more about this in a couple of other understanding PG paths. And you can find the past recording of other PG paths on our video library on the Davidson Member Community Platform, DMC. And in particular, I have two called Meeting Expectations and Misunderstood, which is asynchrony, executive function, and social emotional development. So those two dive deeper into the neuroscience and that kind of benchmark mismatch.
Thank you for watching. Check out the cultivated resources we have on our Davidson Gifted blog linked below. The Davidson Young Scholars Program provides our members with opportunities to connect, engage, and access a range of family services to support them on their profoundly gifted or choice exceptional path. Want to learn more? We host application Q&As for families to learn more about our program, testing requirements, and the application. Visit our website, davidsongifted.org, to find the next available Q&A on the upcoming events tab. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.